it's not just graphics, it's not just maps, it's essentially trying to get information and use it, structured data, and use it either to tell stories we couldn't otherwise or to tell stories differently. So this is sort of one of the Guardian's set-piece data projects each year. This is the UK government's budget shown graphically by department and then broken down into smaller groups of spending. This is one of those weird things that gets huge traffic through the year as people just try to check facts. And one of the things we really like about this is if you go into our Treasury department in the government, there's a copy of this printed out on just about every desk because they don't actually have anything like this to use. And that's actually really helped us get interest and actually cooperation back from them. So when the UK government's releasing new data, we tend to get a first look at it now. And what we kind of show them and sort of use back the first time is this kind of thing. But obviously, all our specialist reporters get a first look at it, everyone else does. Gives us a real chance to get some good sort of first attempts at stories. The lovely thing as well is a heck of a lot of the stuff you'll use to do this is free. All of these things, most of them, things like Tableau Public, Lucid Charts, Google Charts, and Many Eyes, they're graphics softwares. They let you make nice interactives, that kind of thing. They're never as nice as professional graphics artists will do, but they're quick, they work. Nothing wrong with that. OpenStreetMaps and Google Maps let you map things. Scraper-Wiki lets you grab almost any site and turn it into data that you can do reporting on. None of these cost you any money. I mean, this is the nice thing. If you've got a couple of evangelists, a bit of will in the newsroom, this is quite easy to start. Now, why bother with it? It's not many people go into journalism because they like maths or stats. You know, you tend to find not many advocates of it. But it's actually, there's some real advantages to doing things in this way that you wouldn't get from necessarily other types of journalism. And I think the three things are, it gives you background and context, it's new sources of stories, and it really does engage audiences and give you chances to do so that you wouldn't otherwise get. So, background and context, we have things like for Libya, we produce this kind of graphic, which just really gives people who are interested in a story a lot more chance to dig in. I think this one was actually used in print, but generally most stories, we use this to kind of add to the website during the day. We'll lead with the main story, usually with a live blog. And then as we get more information and more background, we'll pull this out. And it means that we can then use it as a reference in our reporting a lot of the time. And what's extra about all of these, everything you see here, is every bit of data used to generate these stories. Anyone can download and make something themselves with, or just check our work, anything. Any story we ever do based on data, the original data that we use to make it is published online. I mean, occasionally you get people going, yeah, you've looked at this data all wrong. That's less fun. But at least people know they can trust our interpretation because we've got pedants everywhere who will cheerfully kick us in. You can also do kind of much more kind of social stories. This was using prescription data to look at antidepressants across the UK. We actually did a series of stories and analysis off the back of this called The Medicated North. As it turned out, people in Blackpool, not a million miles away from where I grew up, have something like 5 times as many antidepressants prescribed to them as people in Kensington and Chelsea. And we sort of looked at this, looked at why. We actually ran it past a statistician or two to make sure we weren't going to have a load of doctors screaming at us that we'd done it wrong. And it actually did really well. It was a nice front page and page spread, and it got a lot of engagement. And actually then the professional networks, our sort of business-to-business communities, did some sort of events and conversations off the back of it. Well, I think part of it is about engagement. More and more we're trying to have a two-way conversation with the people who read us and watch our video and look at our content. And data helps that. It means they can check it out. Anyone who looks at it can build something just the same way we have. And that often gives us new stories, which is good for us. And it also helps us say our journalism's open and you can check it out.